Welcome to Movie Baders. I know that comes first. Welcome to Movie Baders with the Farx Brothers. I'm Kyle.
I'm Kirk.
I'm Ben.
That's right. Actually, it should have been Kyle, Ben, and Kirk, because Kirk always goes... It doesn't matter.
Yeah,
We're here with
matter.
Movie Man T. Are you on Movie Man T?
I am. I'm here.
We're going to be
again.
What did you say?
I said I'm back again.
Oh, yeah. Well, there's many returning guests. Pan's recurred. Dean's been on 2 episodes. We're not going to interview you about your Upper Midwest filmmaking because we are, Kirk and I, Upper Midwest filmmakers. And this is a debate podcast, not a review podcast, where we're going to go for old-fashioned Midwestern disagreements. Do you think that's a good way to put it, Ben?
Sure.
Well, it's not a review podcast. That's the most important part.
Although our opinions about the film will come across.
You said come.
Yes,
Why
I
did you
did.
giggle, Movie Man T?
Yes, I did. I did use the word come, which in other contexts can mean something else, but not in the context in which I used it.
I'm in a group chat with a bunch of former coworkers from... I know we're supposed to be
But
talking...
anyway, if you want a review podcast, well, still listen, because this is sort of like one, I guess.
Thank you. Thank you, Ben Farx. I'm going to finish this anecdote about a group chat I'm in with a bunch of... Because it's about how dumb jokes about coming still matter. Is like there's a guy who's 59 in it. I might be the youngest guy in it in my 30s. And we're all talking about this guy's birthday who's 49. And the first thing the 59-year-old said is a 69 joke. Again, we're here to talk about Gladiator 2. Movie Man T, are you giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
Gladiator 2. That's the poop number.
Yeah, see? Exactly. Gladiator number 2. The shit. Movie Man T, are you giving it a thumbs up or a thumbs up? Why is there 72 on your jacket?
It's a Metallica 72 Seasons jacket.
Sweet. All right.
Well, we have the giant novelty foam thumbs that came with our fan event tickets.
Wait, should we be wearing the thumbs the whole time to indicate if we agree or disagree with one another?
I thought about it.
Wait, you don't have your thumb with you.
No, it's in the car.
I mean, it'll be of no benefit to the audience, but it will be, at least not directly. I feel like it will positively affect our vibes for this recording.
And this might have to... Movie Man T, you haven't given a solid answer yet, and if you would give this a thumbs up or a thumbs down, although my brother Ben Farx has appropriately oriented us in terms of just having come out of the Gladiator 2 fan event. You're not answering the question. You're
riffing right now, so
I'm waiting for you. Interject.
The gods have decided it is a thumbs up for me.
Gods have decided it's a thumbs up. Okay. Why is that? Just to get it out of the way. Again, we're in the non-spoiler section. We're not going to spoil anything for this segment of the show, and then the second segment will be the spoiler section. I want why you're giving it a thumbs up, because there's a lot of calculus that goes into a binary decision, and I think that some people are not sensitive to the amount of calculus people put into their binary decision, which relates to no other thing as we sit here in the month of November 2024. And I would just like to know what calculus went into your decision to give Gladiator 2 by Ridley Scott in his 80s. Well, I believe he's older than the current president. What causes you to give... No, it's true. It's a true fact. Ridley Scott, national treasure of the United States, even though he's from Europe. Why are you giving this... What could you explain your calculus, please?
As simple as Russell Crowe said in the first movie, are you entertained? And I absolutely was.
When would you have gone to the bathroom? Did you go to the bathroom at all?
I did not.
I went to the bathroom at one point, and later on in our I'll end our non-spoiler section by telling an anecdote from the belly dancing bartender who works at the AMC. You didn't know
that happened? She belly danced for you?
No, she didn't belly dance.
Oh.
There's a.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Everyone knows the bartender at the AMC Southdale in Edina, Minnesota.
Edina.
Cake eaters, Mighty Ducks. Here's a question. Would you recommend it to a friend? Would you recommend it to your father?
Yes, I would.
Both of those.
And I absolutely would recommend it to just about anyone's dad.
It's a dad movie.
Well, I think it's also a mom movie to some degree. Like the moms.
What do you mean?
Well, there's clearly some strong. This is a non-spoiler section, but your mom, 24. Did you, Kirk? We are brothers,
Yeah,
And
so we had the same mom. So
theoretically, our mother is the same. Did your mom see this 24 years ago?
No, she doesn't watch a lot of American movies.
Take that, America.
Take that Hollywood. Yeah.
Take that, Hollywood. Do you know what, Ben? Check me on this.
The Farx Brothers. We are vaguely anti-American.
Isn't Holly like a because they talked about drugs in this movie in a fun way, but isn't Holly like one of those funny herbs that has a weird effect on people? I figured this is something you would know off the cuff.
I
That's
don't know. I haven't
Hollywood.
I haven't heard any such thing about holly. The funny flower I know about is poppies, which is obviously where opium and by extension heroin come from.
I'd like to quickly bring up that when Diddy was getting raided, Ridley Scott is his next door neighbor, and he's pictured outside his house. And what I wonder is like, man, I'm in the middle of making Gladiator 2. I wonder if freak offs are similar to what the Roman emperors were. I mean, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
I mean, on a related note to that tangent, they did re-release a new cut of Caligula this year. I'm curious to see that. Is it supposed to be better? Yeah, it's supposed to be a real movie now. For those who are unaware, Caligula was a prestigious picture made in the late 70s, early 80s. Initially had a screenplay by Gore Vidal, but a bunch of big stars. It had Malcolm McDowell. It was like a co-production with Penthouse, and eventually
Larry Flint.
No.
Wait. Penthouse.
Bob Guccione, I think.
Bob Guccione. Wait, which one did Larry Flint have? If it wasn't Penthouse.
I don't know.
Again, I think
Larry Flint was Hustler, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, Larry Flint's Hustler. I'm sorry. Sorry in American history this one. But anyway, I feel like related to the fall of Rome,
Anyway, Bob Guccione filmed a bunch of extra scenes that were like porn and put them in, recut the movie, and basically all the famous, respectable people involved disowned the film, and this is a reconstructed cut, although not reconstructed by the director. That's a cut that's closer to the original Gore Vidal screenplay.
Caligula Redux.
Yeah, I forget what the official title of this particular re-release is, but yeah.
Here's the thing, though, that with AI in 5 to 10 years, they can just reconstitute Caligula as make it a 2000 Academy Award winning movie versus a 2020 Academy Award winning movie.
That's assuming AI gets significantly better in the next few years, and there are some signs that it won't.
I agree with Ben Affleck that it's a craftsman, not an artist. Movie Man T, who do you think is going to get nominated? I'll bait you on who should and who will. Denzel's going to get nominated for Best Supporting.
Oh, yeah.
But shouldn't, the lesser brother get nominated more than him? The one that's not Joseph, the guy who was in Day One, A Quiet Place.
The other one?
Yeah, the other one. Lucas, the one from White Lotus Season 1, who was the brother of Sydney Sweeney and was super weird. Because it was clear...
Do you mean Caracalla, the insane one?
Thank you. So, Ben, you are a student of history.
Yeah. Rome isn't quite my bag, but I do know some things.
Cool.
And here's
save it for after the Oscar debate, but give a pithy anecdote, please.
This movie, just like the first one, is at best loosely based on history. I looked it up because I didn't remember reading about this, but as far as I'm aware, there was no rebellion or war in northern Africa in the early 3rd century. Not at that point in the 3rd century. There were a lot of wars in Rome in the 3rd century. These movies are set about. This movie is set about 10, 15 years before Rome went to shit for about 50 years, including splitting into 3 pieces. It's called the Crisis of the 3rd Century. They eventually got out of it. Constantine ended up making things better for a while, but eventually Rome fell. The western part did. The eastern part stuck around for a while.
Who else will be nominated for Oscars
anyway,
in 2025 movie Manti? No, not anyway. Would you have additional details?
Yeah, the thing I know, the one thing I know about Caracalla is that aristocratic historians didn't think much of him. One thing he did was he made all free Romans citizens. Although this apparently had like economic consequences and whatnot. I don't know. Rome isn't 100% my bag.
I hear what you're saying. So movie Manti, you think that Denzel is going to get nominated for Best Supporting. I agree with you that he's probably going to get nominated, but I'm going to disagree that other people in the movie are more deserving than him for the Best Supporting.
I think his performance is the most memorable one.
Of the entire movie, yes. He is the best actor. It's kind of like that...
And I don't think this is a movie where it's just so great that you need to nominate multiple supporting actors in it.
Do you think Paul
I liked it, but it's not that great.
Paul?
Do you think Paul gets the Best Actor nomination? I agree with you. I don't think that Paul gets it. Do you think Connie gets a Best Supporting Actress nomination?
No.
I agree. But she shouldn't she? She did a great job.
She's good, yeah.
I didn't go into this rooting for her, to be quite honest. Like, I'm sorry, but I just wasn't. I was like, a sequel? Okay, they got to bring her back because she wasn't dead, right? But I thought she was great. And I was, again, we're in the non-spoiler section. We're all saying that. Kirk, do you have any strong disagreements? We're looking for disagreement. Remember, this is
but I don't.
I think she acquitted herself well. I just don't see it happening. In the midst of like all the other movies there are gonna be. Like, did she stand out so much that she's going to get it, but that she's going to get it over like five others?
That's basically how I'm seeing it. It's a paint by numbers performance. It's not like she doesn't have like Oscar bait scenes at all in the movie. She just does by the book. It's good, but it's not standout, if that makes sense. I'm kind of piggybacking off him.
You are. Here's why I think she does have standout moments. Is that her character is interesting in that she's taken, I don't want to spoil anything. Does she have any Academy Award? Because the problem with the Academy Awards is that they require that clip moment where it's going to be like, or I told you, you know.
It's always the shout acting parts.
Yes, I'm obviously acting, and this will work really well in 30 seconds on ABC in the cold of February or March.
And like a lesser variation of this is Emma Stone winning Best Actress last year because like her performance was more like conspicuously actorly and active, as opposed to having to convey, quiet strength, as in, Killers of the Flower Moon. And I'm not.
Lily Gladstone over.
And
Damn, that's a great argument, Ben. I wasn't expecting that because I was thinking of like aging, American auteurs like Martin Scorsese or Ridley Scott's. Yeah. And I'm giving them nicknames.
Yeah, but they're directors. What do you mean?
Yeah, and again, this is not to badmouth Emma Stone's performance, which was in that film, which was really, really great.
You got me to see that movie, as I recall. You were like, "Hey, let's go watch this movie," and then I showed it to my wife, and she liked it, despite what she thought, going into it.
Yeah, so it was one of those things where I was like, I want to see that with Kyle, as opposed to my mother, who is also everyone here's mother, because we're all brothers.
She's all our mother.
Because like I kind of didn't want to like I don't want to spend Christmas Day with my mom watching Emma Stone getting railed. So
you guys saw that on Christmas Day?
Well, it was
no,
available.
I did not.
Our mother only goes to movies on Christmas Day, and they have to pick a movie on Christmas Day, or we have to pick a movie on. Am I saying it correctly?
Yeah.
Ben Farx. You're on Movie Bears with the Farx Brothers, movie Manti.
I am.
Stop introducing the show in the middle of the show.
It's not introducing the show. It's marketing. It's marketing and branding. It's the greatest. It's the movie Baterist with the Farxiest Brothers. Populism as a subject and as tackled in Gladiator 1 and Gladiator 2. We don't have to spoil anything about the movie. Are these populist movies? Are these homework movies that are also fun, where you can be entertained? Because you know what I'm talking about when I say a homework movie?
It has, and this was something I was going to say earlier before you told me not to say it.
I'm sorry.
It was basically what these two films are doing are, Ridley Scott being like, hey, I'm a great director. I can do a Spartacus. And
they literally had a Spartacus moment. I'm sorry, but yeah.
Yeah. And like you have Denzel's character Macrinus, who is loosely based on a guy who became emperor briefly before being assassinated.
Whoa! Spoiler alert for history that already happened.
Like I'd make jokes. I'm not going to make jokes about it. It's too soon.
But how was the rest of the play, Mrs. Lincoln?
Like they basically combined someone loosely based on him who was like from what is now Algeria, but also combined him with like Peter Ustinov's character from Spartacus, the one who's like, in charge of all the gladiators and is like, expounds on the nature of violence and whatnot.
Mrs. Jackie Onassis, did you enjoy the rest of the parade in Dallas? It's close to Thanksgiving, so sorry, I couldn't help myself. So Algeria, he's based on an emperor of Rome that came from Algeria.
Yeah, and he as in this movie, he conspired to assassinate the real Carcalla while being an advisor of him. Although, interestingly enough, although he was like emperor for a year, he actually never went to the city of Rome.
Wow, how does that work?
I mean, the Roman Empire was quite large.
It stretched from the north of Africa all the way to the north of England, and an Australian like Russell Crowe could play a Spaniard.
A New Yorker like Denzel Washington could play a Roman African.
And Denzel Washington.
Do we have any baits about Denzel's accent? Because I had no problem with it at all.
What was it? It was his usual. It was the Equalizer.
He just talked. He just talked in his. Yeah, he was Denzel.
It's like how Quintus
he put on some kind of. He put on a few like slightly fruity aristocratic like physical mannerisms, which was a part of
when you say fruity, you mean of the aristocracy, and not anything else, I assume.
Yeah, although the movie does imply that he's bisexual.
He says he's bisexual. In the movie, and I mean,
I suppose that the movie doesn't imply it. The movie says it.
Yes.
And that's an aspect of the performance. I really like. Like he's still recognizably Denzel, but he's bringing something. Those things do not include the usual English accent that you are expected to speak in when you're in the Roman Empire, which is unless you're Kirk Douglas, then you've got the Mid-Atlantic thing going on.
Homework movies and how they can be entertaining. What are your thoughts?
Well, they can be entertaining. That's how you do it, I guess.
When did you see Gladiator?
First one?
Yes, Gladiator 1, starring the nice guys, Russell Crowe.
And also Dumbledore, the first one.
Yeah, and Dumbledore is
and the Joker.
I can't quite pinpoint it, but it was way back when.
Did you see 2000s. It in the theater?
I did not see it in the theater.
Did anyone in this room see it in movie theaters? Are we all too young to have seen it in a movie theater? I did not.
I'm not sure if I saw it in the theater or just on video, but it was definitely very close to when it was released.
I remember when our parents rented it, and I was allowed to watch it the next day. And I was like, holy shit! Look at all this killing! And this movie had a lot of good killing in it. Like in the non-spoiler section, it's in the trailer. I like the killing. We're trying to find disagreements. I thought there would be too much CG, and like the early application of CG in the 24 years old movie that, came out, it shows some of its seams depending on which, version you're watching now, I think. But other than some of the CGI creatures, I thought generally this movie did good violence and Okay, so either bait me on violence or CG. Ben, I'll hit you first. Movie Man T, I'm moving to you. Kirk, I'm coming to you last because you're gonna be angry. Did it give good violence? Did it give good CG?
Yeah, I'm going to, I suppose, ask about the animals. This wasn't something that bothered me particularly, but like I always got the sense that this wasn't like an exaggerate, like as much as this movie does play, as this movie and it's the original both play kind of fast and loose with history. They weren't like in the 300 vein where like
what do you mean the 300 vein?
Where everything is exaggerated, like it's meant to be a rousing and fantastical tale where the Persians in 300 have all these things we can tell they're supposed to be elephants, but they're actually like monstrous. And
you mean more grounded, like, right? It's not.
Yeah,
so that it was. There's no pizzazz.
That it's meant to be more grounded
like
and realistic.
King Arthur from Guy Ritchie, where the elephants
are
stories tall, which I loved in that Guy Ritchie movie. I'm a stand for it. The 4K is in the man cave right now.
Yeah, but by contrast, in the first movie, there wasn't anything like there being sharks in the flooded Colosseum. Now,
hey,
they
you don't know they couldn't have brought a shark back.
I mean,
because this has been something that's been debated, is whether or not historians are like, oh, there could have been sharks there, but they did flood the Colosseum.
Yeah,
and you think they couldn't have found a shark somewhere?
They knew about sharks, but they didn't really distinguish them from other fish.
Well, that's a bigger fish that eats other
things. At least that's what I've read.
What do you mean?
In the discussion about the sharks, like one historian responded, well, like the Romans would have known about sharks, but like there was not this notion of them being like something separate and more sinister than other predatory fish.
They hadn't seen 1975's Jaws, you're saying?
But anyway, the one that stood out to me though was the rhino, which was large enough to be ridden. And as far as I know, I've only seen a rhino a couple times at the zoo. I don't think they're that big. I don't.
That was a slightly larger rhino. You're saying
it is an elephant-sized rhino.
Motherfucker, did you see Black Panther? You want back? You want back? Like I have a
Black Panther is a superhero movie, and this is.
I have the Lego of that Black Panther.
But I'm kind of really just I'm kind of really just bringing this up because you brought it up, because it's not something that bothers me exactly.
But you can tell the rhino's 10 to 20 to maybe 40% too large.
I think more like 200 to 400% too large.
The rhino,
that rhino is the size of an elephant.
Maybe it got the gas station pill that made it grow a little larger.
Gas station pill?
There's someone underneath the Colosseum applying the rhino pump.
It's Ravi. It's literally the medic's name is Ravi, and he's like, "Hey, I've got stuff," and he gives it to the rhinos to make. He was a former gladiator. He knows what'll make it more interesting. It's like that Dennis Leary joke from the 90s, which is like, yeah, put him on as many steroids as you can. I want to see the most roided up motherfuckers hitting each other as hard as they can, because that's Gladiator. Movie Man T, did either the violence or the CGI get to you?
Nope, it was on point. It's a hard movie to debate, man.
We all like the movie,
yeah,
but we're here to
it's hard to debate.
We're here to get angry about
I suppose I've got a point that I suppose I've got a bait point that could be inflammatory. I think Denzel's character Macrinus is largely right in his assessment of Rome, that the patrician and small r Republican ideals are a front, and that it was actually it was all actually based on power and violence.
Okay, so that you're saying representative democracy doesn't work, and
well, I mean, Rome was never a representative democracy to begin with.
It was a republic.
That's not the same thing as a democracy. It was a heavily aristocratic government. The Roman Republic was. And then you had Caesar, who was on the side of, was the tribune of the plebs. He was on the side of the plebs as opposed to the patricians.
Well, yes, the Caesar was a populist because he drew his power from the what we see in the Colosseum of, oh, should I give a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
No.
Ooh, what do the people want? That's what's represented by Gladiator. Am I understanding you correctly?
Yes.
So we can debate this shit, Movie Man T.
Yes, and I think part of the reason for the timing of this film is that it has been widely discussed that Western democracies and Western secular liberalism is in kind of a time of crisis, or is considered to be.
Maybe we should go to authoritarian religious governments.
Yeah, the United States has often been compared to Rome, and it's a comparison that it itself has invited. In part because the framers wanted it to be. It's the reason why the national bird is an
original thing there, that you're saying representative democracy isn't represented by the idea of the aristocratic Senate.
Rome
in the sense that you have the Romans inventing the idea of, hey, sometimes multiple people will.
They did not invent that idea.
Okay. The application of the idea in ruling practice of an aristocratic Senate arguing with a populist executive, that is something that was...
The executive was not necessarily populist.
Caesar is a form of an executive, and we were just talking about how he's a populist.
Julius Caesar was, but like before that, you have people like I'm forgetting his name, who was on the side of the patricians. He was
my brother.
He lived within Caesar's lifetime. Sulla.
When was Caesar? Just for the audience that doesn't know, obviously I know.
Julius Caesar was in the mid to late first century BC.
So he's a prequel to Gladiator.
Sulla was in charge about 30 or 40 years before him. He was on the side of the patricians, and among other things. The patricians, the aristocrats.
Obviously, I understand that as an aristocrat.
One thing he did was he had a list of his enemy. He had a list of enemies whom he proscribed, and
like Nixon.
Yeah, only more extreme, because everybody on his list.
Nixon had an enemy.
Everybody on his list, every citizen of Rome was obligated to kill him.
Yeah. Whereas in a representative democracy, we don't kill them. We just... I heard the idea today that it's better to character assassinate somebody than to actually assassinate them, because when you assassinate them, you're making them a martyr. But if you character assassinate them, it's way better.
You can always do both. But
Kirk, where are you at?
I thought Gladiator 2 followed too many of the same beats as Gladiator 1.
Hell yeah, brother.
Yeah.
I was thinking that too until they got to that Fall of Rome shit. And I'm sorry, we don't want to spoil anything, but it's also history. And we're not spoiling any individual beats of the movie at this point, and we're still in the non-spoiler section. Say more without spoiling the movie, please, brother.
Well, if you've seen Gladiator 1, you know what the beats are. You got a guy who gets taken in. He's forced to be in the games. You have them trying to overthrow an emperor again, and then it doesn't go right, and there's a crap ton of things that come up.
So for you, it hit the same beats in the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Are you a thumbs down? I'm sorry, I didn't check in with you enough. Are you a thumbs down? Wait. Do you need a big foam? Here,
no,
can I get this? My brother Kirk is going to put the thumb on and show me which direction he's feeling right now. I think he's going to be in the middle.
Yeah, I'm in the middle because I feel like...
But you can't do that in the arena.
I know,
you either live or you die.
I think Gladiator 2 is just a better version of Gladiator 1. I think it feels like the same movie done again.
You're saying Gladiator 2 is better than Gladiator 1? Does anyone want to come back on that shit? Okay, you think Gladiator 2 is better than Gladiator 1? That's the position you're taking?
No, I'm saying I think it's a better version of the first movie.
This is really the third movie, the first movie being Spartacus, of which the first one, of which the first Gladiator and therefore this one kind of rip on, because you got somebody who was
before Gladiator. I think that's something I'd be wondering, which obviously I know, but I don't. Does Spartacus historically take place before Gladiator?
Yes.
Obviously. Did you know that movie, T? That's a yes.
I assumed it was, yeah.
Okay. Continue, man.
I'd kind of like to double back to what I was talking about before. Because about the comparisons of the United States and the Roman Empire, because the United States has always welcomed those comparisons. Like, there's a reason that the architecture of Washington D.C. looks like how it does.
Wait, Francis Ford Coppola in Megalopolis might have been saying the United States and Roman Empire were similar?
Indeed, it's shocking as it may seem, and there are some points of comparison where. One of the things, one of them being slavery, which we'll double back to.
You're gonna double back on slavery.
No, we're gonna make that a topic in itself because
slavery is a topic unto itself.
Because slavery is an important part of this film. Yes. Gladiators were slaves.
And another one, a gladiator, not a slave. Sir.
And another point of emphasis, and this is one of the reasons. Not the only reason. There were also other racist reasons why many of the framers did not want the United States to have a standing army, but like a militia that could be called in times of national emergency, with only at best a very small standing force. Because the general consensus among educated people was that the Roman Republic started to go downhill and become untenable as a result of the reforms of Marius to the legion, which turned the legion into more of a
Who's Marius?
He was a general who lived.
He's not in this movie?
He is not in this movie. He lived 400 years before this movie, I think.
Come on, Jesus Christ!
But
see how that works?
No, that would be another 200 years after Marius. About
no, the point is that's a pivot point. But, okay, where are you going with Marius? Because I got to ask Movie Man T a question.
That it made the Roman legions into more of a standing force, and once Rome had a standing army, that kind of became the center point of the whole state.
A military complex?
And military expansion and military strength became more and more crucial to what the Roman state was, until the thought was someone like a Caesar became inevitable.
You're talking about how the military expansion of Rome is what potentially led to the fall of Rome?
Yeah, okay. I'm not the first. I'm not the first.
Movie Man T, Ben, we're on a podcast, so I
mean more in the sense of the end of the Republic.
Movie Man T, do you think Gladiator 2 is better than Gladiator 1?
No.
What? Oh, what? Okay, so bait my brother on why he is so effing wrong. See how I said effing there?
Yeah,
and
why are you
Ben, I think you made a good point, just to be clear, but I'm still trying to and actually, you've said things to my personal philosophy. So why do you not think Gladiator 2 is better than Gladiator 1, as my younger brother, Kirk Farx, does?
Big reasons, Russell Crowe.
You big Russ head there, Movie Man T. You think, lacking the guy who was in, 2 Pope exorcism movies in the past year.
Incredible stuff.
What?
Incredible stuff.
Crikey. Put another Pope on the Barbie.
I mean, there was technically a Pope at the time that this movie existed. There was a Bishop of Rome. He could have had an exorcist.
Dude, okay. Everyone should stop listening to this podcast right now and go listening to the Going Rogue episode on Gladiator 2 about what Russell Crowe's Nick Cave idea for a Gladiator 2 movie could be, where Maximus would be resurrected and then he'd fight across time for good, and it would end in modern warfare. No joke. That is literally.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah,
Nick Cave's version of Russell Crowe's
where he
idea.
Starts out in. I've not read the actual script. I've read the outline, and I agree with Ridley Scott in that he said this would be amazing. It would, but it will never get made.
AI, baby. AI. We'll be able to have competing narratives existing in the same timelines of people's mind as they travel to far off galaxies, in hypersleep. Isn't that the plot to some ABC detective show where it turned out to all be in the mind of people that were on a space voyage? And this totally relates to Ridley Scott.
is that like the American version of Life on Mars?
Yeah, Life on Mars. That's exactly
because in the British version it's something else. I've not seen either one.
Okay, I've seen neither as well, but yeah, it's Life on Mars. Movie Man T, have you heard of Life on Mars? Like what I just said.
Yeah, because I know in the American version and British versions of Life on Mars, the explanations are different. So,
dude, we're already there because like YouTube shorts are AI generated in some senses. So the generation after us are going to grow up on these stupid YouTube shorts that are AI generated, that are a complete slop. And what's the difference between that and, being in cryo sleep on the way to another life in another galaxy?
I'm a bear on AI as far as the next 10 to 15 years.
Wait, you're a hairy gay guy sleeping? Wait.
Well, yes, I am that, but I also mean that in the sense that I am a market pessimist, in that really the only company making money off of AI right now is NVIDIA, who are on.
You're not a bull in the market.
Yeah, I am not a bull. The only company making money is NVIDIA because they're on the shovels and picks side. But like, we're how many years into this boom and we don't have a use case yet?
So we're not in production, we're always in development. Kirk, why is Movie Man T wrong about his Russell Crowe argument? See, I'm a host.
I think both movies have this similar fault with the main characters. They're not interesting.
You think Paul Mescal?
No, I said
Tequila Mescal?
They both were uninteresting characters. I don't think they didn't have that much. Yeah, they didn't have that much going for them. I mean, Russell Crowe just wanted to go home to his wife and his kids.
She was dead.
Yeah, but there's that much motivation.
Oh, he wanted to go home in the afterlife, you mean? He wanted an honorable death. Okay, sure.
Did he want an honorable death? He wasn't fighting. I mean, first time he was training, he refused to fight. So
did you recently also watch?
Yeah, I saw it like last night.
You watched Gladiator last because Movie Man T watched Gladiator. Movie Man T, you want to tell us your Gladiator relationship in the past 24 to 48 hours?
I gave it a rewatch this week to refresh. I watched the regular version though. I didn't watch the extended cut, so I don't know if I missed anything.
The extended cut shows that when the guys who were sent out to kill Russell Crowe, it's like, hey, weren't you supposed to kill Russell Crowe? And it's those guys get killed who come back from not killing Russell Crowe. Like, we sent you to kill Russell Crowe. And, like, that's what you miss. Because I watched the extended cut during the pan. I tried to watch historical epics in chronologic order. Not of when they were released, but, like, when they would happen. So, like, from Ridley Scott point of view, you'd watch Gladiator and then you'd watch Kingdom of Heaven. That takes place 1,000 years later, right, Ben?
Right.
It takes place during the Crusades, which is like the 1200s.
Yeah, but they don't have anything to do with each other, though.
No, I was watching historical epics because we were going through an historic, whatever you want to call the COVID pandemic. And I was like, oh, well, I'll cope with this by watching $100 million movies that were made. I really liked, and since we talked about the fan event that we were just at, when Denzel Washington said, man, Cecil B. DeMille on steroids, because those old movies where they'd have a lot of people and it looks like an historic epic because you got a lot of people there and a lot of costumes. They had to spend those monies to make those costumes, pay those people to be there, then turn the camera on, obviously. It's different than CGI. It's what we're all arguing against and why Ben's a little bit of a bear.
Well, yeah, and also also they've run out of data to train these models on.
It's like the U.S. elections. There's not enough data points to go on.
And now they're trying to create synthetic data to train these models on, but it's kind of like being the ass in the human centipede.
How so?
Because like, if you're the mouth of the human centipede, you are at least eating food. If you're the ass of the human centipede, you're eating the shit shat out by a person who was eating shit.
Do we have any other thoughts before we enter the non-spoilers or the spoiler section